Glad to have you with us here on this edition of Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for stopping by as we are talking about Josh Jacobs today. The folks at SI's Ravens Country have named the Raiders running back the top running back free agent target for your Baltimore Ravens this offseason. How likely is it that Josh Jacobs ends up in Baltimore? What type of fit would he mean for this Ravens offense? We'll explore the possibility and more coming up on today's show. Before we get to any of that, though, all this month here on Ravens Rundown, we are beginning a brand new sub-battle with our Browns Report channel hosted by the dog hater himself, Matthew Peterson, who he tries to claim to be the leader of the dog pound, but he actually hates puppies. So let's stick it to him, show why Ravens fans are the best fans of the National Football League and better than those frauds, those Browns fans. Subscribe now for free for the latest happenings on your favorite team all offseason long. We're talking trades, free agency, the draft, and more. Your offseason headquarters right here on Ravens Rundown. Subscribe now for free. We begin with this update from SI Ravens Country on why Josh Jacobs. He isn't the most dominant runner or the best receiver on this list. Still, the two top Pro Bowlers are the safest bet to continue producing at a high level if the Ravens were to sign him this offseason. And considering the success that Baltimore's running backs had last season with significantly less talent than a running back of his caliber, he could be exactly what this offense needs to remain unstoppable in the playoffs next season. Now, think about this. Of all the running backs potentially out there for the Baltimore Ravens, Jacobs is unique for a lot of reasons, but specifically, he's only 25 years old, right? He is still a spring chicken, right? And when you look at Josh Jacobs, there should be, compared to the other running backs on the market, like, let's say, a Derrick Henry, for example, less tread on the tires, as he should have less wear and tear, being still a young running back in the prime years of his career at this point in time. I mean, you think about Josh Jacobs, even going all the way back to his days with the Alabama Crimson Tide, he was never the top running back there at Alabama. He was used as a number 2 and number 3 back there. So he's even got more tread than guys his age for the most part as well. So that's a big factor that plays to his advantage and to the advantage of the Baltimore Ravens when they look at him compared to other backs that they could potentially sign in free agency. So let's ask you, should the Ravens sign Josh Jacobs? Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in the comments section. Tell me what you think. Should the Ravens sign him or not? Weigh in and let me know what you think. All right, more on Josh Jacobs here. Let's tell you about his resume here. A two-time Pro Bowler in 2020 and in 2022. And that 2022 season was just remarkable, as Jacobs was a first-team All-Pro that year and led the league in rushing. And in his short time in Viva Las Vegas, this is a guy that has set 7 different Raiders franchise records in a 5-year stretch. It's been pretty remarkable what he's done there. And you look at the numbers. This year was a bit of a down year. He got banged up a little bit. But even then, still had 800 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns. And that Las Vegas Raiders offensive line was nothing to write home about at all this past season. And, I mean, you go back to 2022, over 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns. I like what Josh Jacobs brings to the table. And you think about this, okay? You look at where the Ravens are at with this rushing attack, okay? I'll show you here in just a moment kind of the situations when it comes to contracts of these individuals, but let's put it this way. Changes are coming. There's going to be a different look to this running back room in 2024 than there was in 2023. And so with that in mind, what you got to be thinking, if you're Eric DeCosta and John Harbaugh and Todd Monken, when you're shopping around looking at these potential running backs, who do I want to pair with Keaton Mitchell? Keaton Mitchell is the only running back that you are 100% without a doubt certain is coming back next year. And we know the burner that he is, how well he ran downfield, and his yards per carry was one of the best in the entire league. What are you going to do to complement that? And I think Josh Jacobs could be that complementary piece you're looking for. More to come here on Ravens Rundown in just a moment, but first let's tell you about today's sponsor. That is Game Time. Game Time, the place to go for last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed. And whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered. And we tell you all the time here on the show about how you can save $20 off your first purchase with Game Time, right? It's a great thing. And, I'll say to take things a step further, we are upping the ante a little bit. If you're headed to Vegas for the big game this week between the Niners and the Chiefs, you're in luck because not only can you take that Game Time offer that we always give you, $20 off with the promo code RavensChat, but you can save $100 when you use the promo code Vegas100 on tickets to the big game. You don't have to be a first-time user to do so. So start saving today. What are you waiting for? You can combine both promo codes, Vegas100 and RavensChat, for tickets to the big game and save $120. Or maybe you want to go watch some Maryland basketball this weekend and save some money on that. You can do so with Game Time. Download Game Time today. Terms and conditions do apply. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Ravens Rundown. Glad to have them on board here on today's show. All right, so you look at the Ravens backfield for 2024, and here's kind of where things stand of all six backs at the moment. J.K. Dobbins, he's a free agent. Gus Edwards, he's a free agent. Dalvin Cook is a free agent. And then you got Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill, and Patrick Ricard all under contract at this point, right? So you have some decisions to be made. There will be changes with that group just simply based on contract structure alone with those guys. I would be shocked if J.K. was back. I'd be shocked if Dalvin Cook was back. Gus Edwards, I think, could go either way. Justice Hill could go either way as far as that goes. Now, you look at the statistics. This is what you're having to work with here, okay? Keaton Mitchell, I would expect to be your bell cow next year, that he's probably going to be your number one running back in 2024. And then you got to fill in the gaps at that point. Like, okay, who is going to take the load from Gus Edwards, or does Gus Edwards stay around? What about what Justice Hill did? Especially Justice Hill was very productive towards the end of the year when Keaton Mitchell went down there. So with that said, I think that there is a huge opportunity for this Ravens team to really improve and take this group to a whole nother level personally. And Josh Jacobs would be a natural fit for that. Who is a running back the Ravens should add this offseason? Whether it's Josh Jacobs, maybe it's Saquon Barkley, maybe it's Derrick Henry. Who would you like to see the Ravens add? Give me a name of a running back that comes to mind you'd like to see join the Baltimore Ravens in 2024. Now, the folks at Pro Football Focus are projecting that Josh Jacobs will sign a contract around 3 years for $34.5 million. And I know what some of you are thinking. Before I even finish this next sentence, you're like, well, the Ravens don't have enough money. They don't have salary cap. Yeah, I get that. You're like, I haven't heard that before. And here's the deal, okay? Let me educate you for a second, folks. The Ravens, we told you this in our Cut Candidates video a couple days ago, that although they have, about $7 million in cap space right now, they are just a few moves away from all of a sudden having $40 million in cap space. Obviously, you have to keep some for your draft picks that you bring in, but there is money waiting for you. You have to go find it. And I am of the belief that the salary cap in the NFL is just a myth anyway. So if you really want a guy like Josh Jacobs, I don't want to hear any excuses. You can have him if you really want him. And here's the other deal. The defense is going to take a step back in 2024, okay? I mean, between Justin and Patrick and Geno Stone and these guys, like, not everybody's coming back. There's just basically no way, if we're going to be honest with you, that defense is going to be as good as what it was last year. It could still be a very good group, but I think the reality is that it's going to take a step back. So what does that mean? That means the offense has to step up. It's kind of like to reverse the Kansas City Chiefs, who were in the Super Bowl this week. They took a step back offensively this year, but they took a step up defensively, so it made up for it. Kind of the reverse of sorts with the Ravens. Next year, the defense will be worse. It's going to be the offense to kind of pick up the load of sorts from there, which I think they're capable of. Appreciate you joining us here on Ravens Rundown. Subscribe to the channel for the latest happenings on your favorite team all offseason long. We got you covered, and we'll see you next time here on the channel.